After returning from the past, I emptied Shen Buyu's wardrobe right in front of her. She looked calm on the surface, but deep down she knew that from now on she wouldn't even have the right to live in the room next to mine. At the thought of that, she had almost cried herself dry. In the original storyline, after my father found out that Shen Buyu loved me, he forced me to marry her. But I never treated her kindly. Even after we got our marriage certificate, I disliked her even more. I even brought other women home right in front of her, and little by little I ruined my family's company. When disaster struck, I never imagined that Shen Buyu would give up her life to save mine. From that moment on, I finally came to my senses. I swore that in this life, I would love her with all my heart and never let her live as humbly as she had before. Snapping out of my thoughts, I realized Shen Buyu had been staring at me. "Why are you looking at me? Aren't you supposed to be studying? Go study." Looking at the empty wardrobe, Shen Buyu didn't dare say a word or ask a single question. She obediently turned and left. After casually sending her away, I moved all of her clothes and toiletries into my own room. I couldn't help wondering whether she'd still be able to keep such a calm expression tonight when she found out she would be sharing a room with me. After spending some time tidying up the room, I picked up a lunchbox and headed to Fang Group to bring lunch to my father. Before I even reached the office, I heard father scolding someone inside. Hearing that instantly reminded me of the original storyline. Back then, my uncle's business had run into a cash flow problem, and he desperately needed a large sum of money. Father refused, saying the company itself was short on funds. But afterward, my uncle came to me and claimed father was being petty, asking me to force him to lend over the money to cover his losses. The stupidest part was that I actually did it. From then on, Fang Group's performance declined dramatically. During that period, father was so overwhelmed with work that he eventually collapsed in the office. Meanwhile, my uncle's family made a fortune using Fang family's money and even founded Zia Group. Those people would use father as an excuse whenever they needed something from you, but once they no longer needed you, they'd kick you as far away as possible. I remembered that after father fell ill, he went to my uncle for help. Instead, my uncle complained to me about how poor he was. Foolishly enough, I actually believed him. It wasn't until much later that I learned Zia Group had surpassed Fang Group by continuously siphoning off Fang Group's profits. Thinking of that, I deliberately stepped back outside and waited until my uncle had left before entering the office. "Dad, why are you sighing?" Father looked at me in surprise. "What brings you here all of a sudden?" I was never the type to visit without a reason, so my sudden appearance made his heart skip a beat. "Dad, why are you looking at me like that? Hurry up and eat." "Zio-okyu, why did you suddenly bring me lunch? Did your uncle come to see you? Did he say something?" "My uncle, was he looking for me? I don't know." "Why didn't he call me?" "That's good." After a pause, I smiled. "Actually, I do have something to tell you. It's nothing major. I found someone really talented, and I think it would be a shame not to hire him, so I came to let you know." Father finally relaxed. "You scared me. I thought it was something serious. Fine, just have him come see me when the time comes." "Thanks, Dad." "You'll know soon enough how good my judgment is when it comes to people." Father snorted. "You've got the nerve to say that? Tell me what's wrong with Shen Buyu?" I smiled bitterly. "There's nothing wrong with Shen Buyu. She was never the one at fault. I was, but now I've finally seen things clearly." Meanwhile, while I was away delivering lunch, Shen Buyu wore a cold expression as she wheeled herself through the empty rooms of the villa one by one, searching for her new room. After looking everywhere, she still couldn't find any of her belongings. In the end, she returned to her room, constantly wondering where I planned to send her. As she was thinking about it, she suddenly heard the sound of a car outside. She hurried to the window, and with just one glance, she recognized my car. She leaned against the window, wanting only to look at me a little longer. "Leave it there. Mom will wash it." "Don't get your hands dirty." "It's fine. It's only a lunchbox. Your hands are hands too." I smiled and politely refused, already planning to hire another housekeeper so she wouldn't have to work so hard anymore. I even wanted to take her to a beauty salon so she could take proper care of herself. In the original storyline, because I hated Shen Buyu, I also disliked her mother. But since my father had married Mother Shen, I couldn't drive either of them out, so I never treated her kindly. Whenever I could order her around, I did, treating her like nothing more than a servant. Looking back now, father was right. Having been spoiled since childhood, I truly didn't deserve to be called a decent human being. Thankfully, heaven had given me another chance. I told Mother Shen about hiring another housekeeper and taking her for a beauty treatment, but she simply smiled and didn't take it to heart. Seeing her reaction, I didn't say anything more. After washing the lunchbox, I returned to my room and began making plans for Mother Shen. Then I remembered I only had 3 days left before school started again, so I quickly dug out my textbooks and began reviewing. After returning from the past, I decided to study finance so I wouldn't be fooled by others again. In the original storyline, I had been far too foolish. I insisted on following Lu Jiao overseas, even studying information technology just so I could stay with her. After returning home, I worked even harder developing software for Lu Jiao's company. In the end, she took all of Fang Group's money and disappeared. Upstairs, Shen Buyu kept her head lowered, hesitating over whether she should go downstairs. Finally, she decided to use getting a glass of water as an excuse to see what I was doing. She poured herself a glass of water and walked around the first floor, but there was no sign of me anywhere. Has he already gone back upstairs? How was he so fast? Shen Buyu felt a little disappointed. She quietly finished her water, carefully washed the glass, and slowly made her way back upstairs. Just then, Mother Shen walked over. Why did you come downstairs for water? Didn't I bring you some already? Shen Buyu paused for a moment before continuing to push her wheelchair. I forgot. After returning to her room, she sat there covering her burning ears, too embarrassed to raise her head. Before she could calm down, she heard movement outside the door. The next second, I pushed the door open and walked straight toward the pile of books, searching through them. Just then, I turned around and met Shen Buyu's gaze. I simply leaned my face closer to hers. Why are you looking at me? Is there something on my face? The sudden closeness of my face made Shen Buyu freeze. After only a few seconds, her breathing became a little uneven. I quickly noticed the tips of her ears turning red and deliberately teased her. Shen Buyu, why are your ears so red? As I spoke, I reached out and pinched her cheek. Shen Buyu panicked. Without thinking, she grabbed my hand. But the moment she realized she had touched me, she hastily let go as if she'd been burned. Seeing the surprised look on my face, she immediately became flustered. Lowering her head, she apologized cautiously. Brother Fang, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to touch you. I'm not angry. Hearing that, Shen Buyu immediately looked up, but no words came out. Confused, I waved my hand in front of her eyes. Without thinking much of it, I leaned down and gently kissed her on the forehead. After teasing Shen Buyu for a bit, I picked up my books and left. At dinner time, Fang Xiaotao ran upstairs on her little legs, calling out, "Dinner's ready." Hearing her voice, I opened the door, picked her up, and took her next door to call Shen Buyu. But when I pushed open the door, I found that Shen Buyu was still sitting in exactly the same position as when I'd left. Did that kiss really leave her that stunned? Xiaotao, go downstairs first and help Mom set the table, okay? Okay. I leaned over and kissed Shen Buyu on the forehead once more, smiling as I looked at her. It was as if she had finally come back to her senses. Her eyelashes fluttered slightly before she nodded. Brother, I'm back. As we walked downstairs together, Fang Xiaotao looked puzzled. Brother, why did you tell me to come downstairs first? Because your sister was thinking about something very important. We shouldn't disturb her, right? That's why I asked you to come help Mom set the table. Xiaotao is such a good girl. I glanced back at Shen Buyu. Her face was still expressionless, but I didn't notice that the moment I turned away, the corners of her lips lifted ever so slightly. When we reached the dining room, Fang Xiaotao washed her hands and happily ran over. Brother, can I sit with you? Of course. I stood up and lifted her onto the chair beside me. Father laughed helplessly. Ever since your brother came back, you've forgotten all about your parents and your sister. Fang Xiaotao puffed out her cheeks. The three of you can serve each other too. I'll pick food for brother and brother will pick food for me. What else do you want to eat? As she spoke, Fang Xiaotao pushed her little bowl toward me and pointed at the dishes. I want this, this, and this. Smiling, I picked up the food she wanted and placed it into her bowl. Before long, I'd filled it with everything she liked. Mother Shen couldn't bear to watch anymore. Fang Ziyu, stop giving her more, she can't eat that much. I can, Fang Xiaotao protested. I'll finish it all, Mother Shen smiled. Then finish what's already in your bowl first. After that, brother can get you more. Fang Xiaotao lowered her head unhappily and started eating with all her might. Watching her, I couldn't help but laugh. Xiaotao really was adorable. Shen Buyu sat quietly beside us, eating her meal without saying a word. No one knew what she was thinking. Before long, Fang Xiaotao proudly held up her empty bowl. I'm done. I gently rubbed her head and praised her with a smile. Xiaotao is amazing. You ate everything. Not a single grain of rice was wasted. After dinner, Fang Xiaotao excitedly took out her kindergarten workbook to show off. Brother, look, I got a perfect score. Xiaotao, it's time for your bath. Can I play a little longer? No, you have school tomorrow. Seeing that she refused to move, Mother Shen reached over to carry her away. Unexpectedly, Fang Xiaotao threw herself into my arms again and looked up at me carefully. Brother, will you change back tomorrow? Hearing that, my nose stung. No wonder she'd been clinging to me all evening. She'd been afraid that tomorrow I'd become the old me again and ignore her. Of course not. Brother will always play with you from now on. Fang Xiaotao immediately beamed with joy. Only then was she willing to leave with Mother Shen. After they left, I went upstairs. The one who suffered the most was Shen Buyu. She had been staying in her room the whole time and had no idea which room was now mine. After taking my shower, I went to Shen Buyu's room and found her sitting alone in her wheelchair. Seeing that, my heart ached. I walked over and hugged her from behind. "Brother Fang, let go of me." Without saying anything else, I released her, pushed her wheelchair, and brought her into the new room. "From now on, this is your room too." "My room? That's right, from now on, this is our room." Shen Buyu lowered her head without replying. Then she turned her wheelchair toward the bathroom. I leaned against the door outside and waited. In my previous life, Lu Jiao had done nothing more than hold my hand while we were together. Back then, I thought it was because she treasured our relationship. Only later did I realize it had all been my wishful thinking. From beginning to end, the one she truly loved was Lan. In this life, don't come back and ruin me again. After a long while, Shen Buyu still hadn't come out. "Shen Buyu, are you okay? Why are you taking so long?" "I'll be out in a minute." Soon the bathroom door opened and Shen Buyu wheeled herself out. "Why didn't you dry your hair before coming out?" Shen Buyu hesitated, unsure how to answer. Sighing, I turned around and got a towel. I pushed her to the dressing table and carefully dried her hair with the hairdryer. After I finished, I wheeled her over to the bed. By the time I'd taken my own shower and climbed into bed, Shen Buyu was already lying down. She had deliberately kept her distance from me. The next morning, I opened my eyes just as Shen Buyu woke up as well. Somehow, we had ended up sleeping close together. "When did you wake up?" "Just now." Shen Buyu's answers were as brief as ever. She had never been one for talking. Feeling playful, I leaned closer and gently touched her cheek. Seeing the tips of her ears slowly turn red again, I couldn't help smiling. After getting ready at a leisurely pace, I pushed Shen Buyu downstairs. Everyone had just started eating breakfast. The moment Fang Xiaotao saw me, she happily jumped up. "Brother, come sit here." Smiling, I pushed Shen Buyu over and sat beside Xiaotao. Just as breakfast was ending, Fang Xiaotao suddenly blurted out, "Brother, divorce sister and marry me instead." I nearly choked. Where did that strange idea come from? Father, who was drinking milk, started coughing violently. I didn't notice Shen Buyu secretly glancing at me with the faintest smile on her face. Father quickly interrupted Fang Xiaotao. "All right, hurry up and eat. You'll be late for school." Fang Xiaotao pouted unhappily. I smiled, rubbed her head, and said, "I'll take you to school in a little while." Her eyes lit up instantly. "Yay!" After taking my little sister to school. After taking Xiaotao to school, I went home and took Mother Shen out for a beauty treatment. She hadn't taken it seriously at first, but I practically dragged her there. "Mom, how does it feel? Relaxing, isn't it? I got you a membership card and loaded money onto it. Come here whenever you have time and take good care of yourself. Don't waste your money on me. I'm already old. I don't need all this." Although Mother Shen said that, she was secretly delighted. Afterward, I sat in a massage chair while waiting for her, feeling more relaxed than I had in a long time. Being reborn really was wonderful. This time, I would enjoy life, stay away from toxic people, and protect my family. At a milk tea shop, Lan was coaxing Lu Jiao. "Kiao, you know my family's situation. My dad's company depends entirely on my uncle-in-law. Fang Ziu likes you so much. Just help me deal with him one more time. If he gets upset and complains to my uncle-in-law, my dad's business won't survive." And Lan constantly painted me as the villain while making himself look like the innocent victim. Lu Jiao's protective instincts were stirred, and all that remained in her heart toward me was disgust. She gently took Lan's hand. "All right, I'll help you one more time. I can owe him a favor, but I'll never accept him. You know, the only person in my heart is you." Pretending to be touched, and Lan smiled. "Kiao, thank you." After calming Lu Jiao down, he used her phone to send Fang Ziu a message. "Fang Ziu, let's meet on Saturday." At that moment, I was helping in the kitchen, and my phone was lying on the coffee table in the living room. Just then, it buzzed and the screen lit up. Shen Buyu happened to glance over and saw the message from Lu Jiao. Her expression instantly darkened. After helping Mother Shen set the table, I went into the living room to call Shen Buyu for dinner. Just as I was about to push her wheelchair, she stopped me. "Don't push me. I can do it myself." I thought her pride had gotten the better of her, so I let go, but quietly followed behind her all the way to the dining table. Mother Shen happily introduced the dishes I'd made. It was my first time cooking, so I looked at Shen Buyu with anticipation. "This is my first time cooking. Mom helped me, but it still might not taste very good. If you don't like it, you don't have to force yourself." Shen Buyu didn't say anything. She simply picked up her chopsticks and took a bite. I immediately caught the change in her expression that she couldn't hide. Before long, every dish I'd cooked had been wiped clean. Seeing that made me genuinely happy. It looked like my cooking wasn't bad after all. After dinner, Mother Shen chased me out of the kitchen, so Shen Buyu and I went upstairs together. I returned to my room while Shen Buyu went back to her old room. At first, I didn't think much of it. I assumed she was going to study, but the moment I saw the message on my phone, I immediately understood. Shen Buyu had seen it and misunderstood. I quickly sat up in bed. My wife was jealous. I had to comfort her. I pushed open the door, and sure enough, Shen Buyu wasn't studying. She was sitting blankly in front of the computer desk. I walked straight over, pushed her wheelchair, and brought her back to our room. Once inside, Shen Buyu kept a sullen expression. "I still have things to do. Why did you bring me back?" Ignoring her protest, I picked her up and placed her on the bed. "Whatever it is can wait. It's nap time now. I'm not sleepy. I don't want to sleep." Shen Buyu tried to leave, but it was already too late. I refused to let her go. "But I'm sleepy. I can't fall asleep without you. Sleep with me, okay, wife?" When she didn't respond, I called out to her a few more times. Shen Buyu froze on the spot. Smiling, I pulled her into my arms and soon drifted off to sleep. Early the next morning, after waking up, I asked her, "Did you see the message on my phone yesterday?" "No." Shen Buyu denied it immediately. I exposed her lie without hesitation. "You're lying. Look me in the eyes and say it." Left with no choice, Shen Buyu finally admitted the truth. "I only glanced at it. I only saw a few words." Just as I'd thought, I took out my phone. "So this is why you've been upset?" Shen Buyu glared at me. Seeing her reaction, I smiled before looking at her seriously. "Don't worry, Shen Buyu. You're the only person in my heart." Meanwhile, that night at the family home, my uncle sat on the sofa, sighing endlessly. "What should I do? My brother-in-law absolutely refuses to help me now. Maybe I should just leave so I don't drag all of you down." My aunt angrily stood up with her hands on her hips. "What's the point of talking like that? Our family's savings are gone. Are you expecting us to live on air? I was counting on you to make us rich. Instead of talking about giving up whenever something goes wrong, why don't you use your brain for once?" My uncle immediately brightened and eagerly grabbed her arm. "Honey, you have an idea. Tell me, what should we do?" My aunt raised an eyebrow and smiled. "You're so dense, you can't borrow the money because you're his brother-in-law. Family relationships get in the way, but if Fang Ziu asks instead, it'll be different." "Honey, you're a genius." My uncle instantly understood and became excited. "I'll call Fang Ziu right now. He always listens to us." As he spoke, he pulled out his phone. Meanwhile, in order to cheer Lu Jiao up, and Lan accompanied her for milk tea and a movie. When they finally reached the entrance to her neighborhood, Lu Jiao turned to look at him. "And Lan, thank you for watching the movie with me." And Lan smiled gently. "I liked it too. It's just that I wasn't satisfied with the ending." The male lead actually lost his first love. What a shame. Lu Jiao sighed regretfully. "It really was a shame and infuriating. If I ever fall in love, I'll stay loyal to that person for the rest of my life." And Lan smiled softly. "All right, Lu Jiao, you should head home now." Lu Jiao happily turned around and left. Watching her walk away, and Lan's expression instantly turned cold. Just a few more days. Once Fang Ziu and Lu Jiahyuan are both sent overseas, Shen Buyu will be mine. Back in the bedroom, Shen Buyu wrapped her arms around me from behind with a wronged expression. "Why aren't you holding me while we sleep anymore?" I didn't dare admit that I'd chickened out. I'd planned to tease her that afternoon, but somehow I'd ended up being the one flustered instead. "Fang Ziu," Shen Buyu called softly from behind me. Only then did I realize she had been pretending all along. Even so, hearing her voice still made my heart ache. Thinking about everything she had silently done for me in my previous life, I couldn't stop feeling sorry for her. I wondered how hopeless she must have felt back then. No wonder her leg had continued to worsen until she eventually gave up treatment altogether. Looking back now, she hadn't merely given up on treatment. She had given up on herself completely. At that thought, I couldn't hold back any longer. I turned around. I pulled Shen Buyu into my arms. "Shen Buyu, no matter what happens in the future, you must never give up on your life. I want you to live well. Promise me, okay?" Shen Buyu looked completely unconcerned. "Then kiss me and I'll promise you." I didn't notice the unusual look in Shen Buyu's eyes. Without hesitation, I stepped forward and wrapped her in my embrace. She trembled slightly before leaning into me on her own. I held her quietly, feeling completely at ease. After a moment, Shen Buyu whispered softly in my ear, "Brother Fang, don't leave me. Otherwise, I'll go crazy, and I don't know what I might do." At that moment, I suddenly realized Shen Buyu was serious. She might really do something extreme. The thought made me shiver instinctively, but I regretted it the very next second. That reaction had come far too naturally. Shen Buyu was definitely going to misunderstand it. I immediately hugged her again and looked at her earnestly, trying to erase any misunderstanding my reaction had caused. Shen Buyu will always be together. We'll never leave each other for the rest of our lives. Shen Buyu's eyes flickered slightly before she nodded. Okay, remember what you said today. At that moment, I had no idea what Shen Buyu was planning. The next morning, after washing up, I went downstairs. The moment Fang Xiaoao saw me, she asked with concern, "Brother, what happened to your lips?" I quickly covered my mouth and patiently explained, "It's nothing. I accidentally bit my lip." "Sorry, Xiaoao. Brother has to go to school today, so I can't take you to kindergarten." Fang Xiaoao nodded understandingly. "It's okay. You can take me when you have time." Shen Buyu had already returned to her usual quiet self. She pushed her wheelchair downstairs without saying a word. Sharp-eyed as always, Fang Xiaoao immediately noticed something strange. "Sister, what happened to your neck?" I nearly choked on my food and burst into a fit of coughing. My little sister really knew how to say the most shocking things. Father, who was eating breakfast, instinctively looked at Shen Buyu's neck before awkwardly coughing as well. Fang Xiaoao suspiciously glanced back and forth between Shen Buyu and me. Then her eyes lit up. "Oh, brother and sister, did you two have a fight?" I almost choked again. It hadn't been a big deal to begin with, but after my sister's innocent comment, it somehow sounded much more suggestive. Feeling unbearably embarrassed, I hurriedly finished my breakfast. Shen Buyu remained silent as always, calmly eating without changing her expression. The moment I finished, I rushed upstairs to grab my books before leaving for school. Back in the living room, just as Father was about to leave for work, Shen Buyu stopped him. "Dad, Fang Xiu and I want to move out." Father thought for a moment. "Have you made up your mind?" Shen Buyu nodded seriously. "We've already bought a house." Father fell silent for a while before letting out a sigh. "Since you've already bought the house, I suppose you've both made your decision. Then go ahead and move out. But come back to visit your mother and me whenever you have time." Shen Buyu nodded again. "Thank you, Dad. Fang Xiu and I will come back often." Looking at Shen Buyu, Father spoke earnestly. "Buyu, I've spoiled Fang Xiu since he was little. I'll have to trouble you to be patient with him from now on." "Don't worry, Dad. I'll take good care of Fang Xiu." Hearing that, Father smiled and returned to his room. He believed Shen Buyu would keep her word. At school, I answered my uncle's call with a fake smile. "Fang Xiu, what are you doing? You haven't visited your uncle in so long. Have you forgotten all about us?" Hearing that, I sneered inwardly but didn't refuse him. "I'm at school. I have classes today." "Then come over for dinner tonight." "All right. Good, good. Focus on your classes." "I won't bother you anymore." After hanging up, my expression turned cold. He was only being so enthusiastic because he thought I was easy to manipulate. Meanwhile, at my uncle's house, he happily hung up the phone. My aunt knew from his expression that everything had gone according to plan. All they had to do now was put on a good performance that evening. Back at school, I gave a mocking smile and called home. As soon as the call connected, Shen Buyu answered. "Fang Xiu, what is it?" I was a little surprised. I hadn't even spoken yet, and she already knew it was me. Still, I didn't think much of it. "Tell Mom I won't be home for dinner tonight." The moment I said that, the other end of the line fell silent. I frowned. "Shen Buyu, did you hear me?" After a brief pause, she quietly replied and hung up. I scratched my head in confusion. Back at home, Mother Shen came out of the kitchen. "Was that Fang Xiu? What did he say?" Shen Buyu simply repeated what I'd said about staying at school before pushing her wheelchair upstairs and burying herself in her code. Before long, she had developed a small program capable of tracking Fang Xiu's location. Looking at the computer screen, a faint smile appeared on her lips. "Fang Xiu, the game is about to begin." Meanwhile, I suddenly sneezed in the classroom. "Am I catching a cold?" The girl sitting beside me handed me a pack of tissues. I smiled and thanked her. As I looked at her, she seemed strangely familiar, but I couldn't remember her name. What I never expected was that someone secretly took a photo of that moment and posted it on the school's confession page. The post quickly began spreading, while I, the person involved, remained completely unaware. At home, Shen Buyu secretly browsed the school's confession page. When she saw the photo of me smiling at another girl, the smile on my face felt unbearably irritating to her. She quickly investigated the girl's background. She came from a poor family, had earned her place at a prestigious university through hard work, and had a mother who was bedridden with illness. Shen Buyu's gaze gradually turned dangerous. She began to suspect that the girl had deliberately approached me. Meanwhile, on my way to my uncle's house, I finally remembered who that girl was. She was the older sister of the accountant who had later helped Lu Jiao embezzle all of Fang Group's money. In my previous life, I'd met that accountant. Holding a photo of her sister, she had repeatedly accused me of being the murderer. claiming that I had abused my status as the young master of Fang Group and driven her sister to jump off a building because she couldn't bear the rumors any longer. I slammed on the brakes and hurriedly pulled out my phone. If I remembered correctly, her sister had died around this time, but I truly knew nothing about it back then. As I checked my phone, I was stunned. Someone had already started spreading malicious rumors about her on the school's confession page, and at that, the rumors made it look as though I had planned the entire thing from start to finish. One look was enough for me to know that someone was deliberately targeting me, using my name to go after that girl. The worst part was that after it eventually led to someone's death, the real culprit dumped all the blame on me. That was what ultimately drove the girl's younger sister to seek revenge against me. I couldn't sit still any longer. I immediately found a nearby internet cafe and successfully deleted the post. Back at home, Shen Buyu noticed that the post had suddenly disappeared. She immediately realized that someone had hacked into the school's website and deleted it. To her, however, it was child's play. Before long, she had restored the post to the school's confession page. So that's all you've got? At the internet cafe, I was just about to shut down the computer and leave when I saw the post suddenly reappear. I quickly sat back down and continued trying to remove it, but the other side was always one step ahead of me. I was furious. After studying computer science for so many years, I knew I'd run into a worthy opponent. Shen Buyu, are you busy right now? Can you do me a favor? I'm not busy, what is it? Help me delete a post. I'll send it to you in a moment. I'll buy you dessert when I get back. You're trying to bribe me with dessert. Can't I? I'll buy it on my way back. What do you want? Where are you going? Without thinking much of it, I answered honestly. I'm going to my uncle's house. After hanging up, I immediately forwarded the post to Shen Buyu. Then I left the internet cafe and drove toward my uncle's house. At home, Shen Buyu opened the link and finally realized it was the very same post she'd been fighting over online. She frowned in confusion. Looks like I'll have to wait until Fang Ziu comes back and ask him what happened. Fang Ziu, you're finally here, my aunt greeted me enthusiastically. Your aunt has missed you so much. It's almost been a week since I last saw you. Look at you, you've gotten so thin. I sneered inwardly. Yeah, that woman's cooking can't compare to yours. Aunt, your food is still the best. Then eat plenty tonight. I had expected to at least enjoy a decent meal, but when I looked at the table, all I saw were plain green vegetables, and even the leaves looked wilted. It was obvious they were putting on a show, pretending to be miserable. Fang Ziu, don't laugh at us. It's all because your uncle failed. The project he invested in ran into financial problems. We've put all our savings into it. Now this is all we can afford to eat. Please don't mind it. Come, try Auntie's cooking. As she spoke, my aunt enthusiastically picked up food for me. I pushed my rice bowl forward. Aunt, what exactly did Uncle invest in? How did he lose so much money? What are you going to do from now on? What else can we do? We still have to keep living. But the worst part is that even after putting in all our savings, it still isn't enough. Before long, debt collectors will probably come knocking. We're even planning to sell this house. At least we can pay back part of it. She looked at me with teary eyes. Fang Ziu, don't come visit your uncle and me anymore. I don't want those debt collectors targeting you too. Seeing her getting more and more emotional, my uncle immediately walked over and hugged her. Don't cry, I won't drag you and our son down with me. I'll just disappear. Once I'm gone, the debt will die with me. They won't come after you anymore, you and our son. Just live well. As he spoke, he turned and started walking toward the balcony. Uncle, don't do anything stupid. If worst comes to worst, we'll pay the debt together. How much are you still short? Hurry and borrow money from your relatives and friends. Have you asked my dad yet? I sat there watching the two of them perform, laughing inside. Judging by how perfectly they played off each other, they must have rehearsed this act long ago. Fine, if you're acting, then I'll act too. My uncle let out a heavy sigh. I already asked your father. He said the company needs cash flow and doesn't have any extra money. Bit by bit, I managed to get them to reveal the amount they actually wanted to squeeze out of me. It was outrageous. Back then, I'd foolishly thought they only needed a few tens of millions. I never imagined the hole was this enormous. No wonder father had even considered selling off the company's profitable projects. A faint smile curled across my lips. Since you're so desperate for money, let's see just how much you're willing to sacrifice. Aunt, I know someone who specializes in buying second-hand luxury goods. Come on, let's sell all the expensive things you bought before. Maybe we can raise enough money to improve your meals. My aunt forced an awkward smile. Fang Ziu, those things aren't worth much. Let's forget about it. No way, don't worry, Aunt. He's my friend. He won't cheat us. We'll definitely get a good price. The gifts I bought for you and cousin all cost hundreds of thousands. Even second-hand, they're still worth quite a bit. Look at how you and Uncle are living now. Your meals are this poor. You can't ruin your health over money. Once Uncle gets back on his feet, he can always buy new ones. Before my aunt could stop me, I had already pushed her into her bedroom and started taking inventory. As I stuffed handbags, jewelry, and luxury items into large bags, I explained how much each one could sell for and where they could be sold. She quietly tried to sneak several items back out. The moment I noticed, I immediately grabbed them back. Aunt, this is the most critical time. We all need to work together. I don't even know how much money my dad will be able to lend. I'll do my best to borrow what I can. Later, I'll even sell my own valuables. We'll all work together to help Uncle get through this. Listening to my words, my aunt could only curse me in her heart. Still, she reluctantly placed the designer handbag back into the bag. I immediately praised her. That's the spirit, Aunt. We'll get through this together. Looking at the pained expression on her face, I felt incredibly satisfied inside. In the end, I didn't even stay for dinner. Carrying 2 huge bags of luxury goods, I quickly slipped away. Back at home, Shen Buyu sat by the window. From a distance, she saw my car driving back and smiled. She pushed her wheelchair downstairs, sat in the living room, and pretended to be watching TV. A moment later, I pushed open the front door, smiling as I waved a box of desserts in front of her. Wife, I'm back. I bought you dessert. Want to try some? Shen Buyu smiled as well. You're in such a good mood. Did your uncle's family cook something delicious for you? I didn't even eat dinner. I hurried back just to see you. I sat down beside her. Then what do you want to eat? I'll make it for you. I immediately stood up and headed toward the kitchen. You don't have to cook. I'll just find something simple to eat. But the moment I stepped into the kitchen, I saw. Shen Buyu followed me downstairs. I immediately pushed her wheelchair back toward the living room. Why did you come down? Go upstairs and wait for me. Shen Buyu looked up at me with a serious expression. When you're not home, I don't really have much of an appetite. I looked at her in surprise. Right now, she looked kind of cute. I'll make you some noodles. How much do you want? Shen Buyu nodded. Not too much. If I eat too much this late, I won't be able to sleep. I thought to myself, so she isn't really hungry. She's just worried I'll see through her. Then I'll make you a small portion. You can have a little soup too. I gave her an okay sign before turning around to start cooking. Soon the noodles were ready. I carried the bowl to the dining table. Shen Buyu's bowl contained only 1 egg, a few strands of noodles, and half a bowl of soup. She happily ate with me. Upstairs, Father quietly returned to his room. Who's downstairs? Is Fang Ziu back? Mother Shen asked. Father nodded happily. The 2 of them are downstairs eating together. Fang Ziu has really grown up since getting married. He doesn't reject Buyu anymore. I think it'll be good for them to move out and live on their own. Mother Shen looked at him in confusion. Move out? Buyu told me about it this morning. Don't worry so much. Maybe before long we'll be holding a grandchild. Hearing that, Mother Shen didn't say anything else. Downstairs, after we'd almost finished eating, Shen Buyu suddenly said, Fang Ziu, let's move out. I looked at her in confusion. Why do you suddenly want to move? Shen Buyu lowered her head and looked at her hands. I want a home that belongs to just the 2 of us. What do you think? I became curious. That actually sounds nice. Where are we moving? Not far from here, on the mountainside across from here. My eyes widened. Isn't that area full of private villas? Shen Buyu smiled and looked up. I bought one. I looked at her suspiciously. Where did you get that much money? I earned it myself. Don't worry, I can afford to support you. Only then did I realize how badly I'd underestimated Shen Buyu. I never imagined she'd already become worth billions. Just how many things about her had I never known in my previous life? So when are we moving? Shen Buyu took my hand. Tomorrow, okay? I nodded. Okay, I don't have classes tomorrow afternoon. Shen Buyu happily leaned over and kissed me. I froze for a moment before pulling her into my arms and kissing her back. Shen Buyu didn't resist. She simply closed her eyes. A few minutes later, I smiled at her. Go upstairs first. I'll be up in a little while. Shen Buyu didn't move. She simply watched me as I busied myself in the kitchen. Seeing that, I hurried to finish washing the pots and dishes before pushing her upstairs. Back in the bedroom, we both washed up and climbed into bed. Under the covers, Shen Buyu immediately snuggled into my arms. I softly called her name. Shen Buyu! She didn't answer. It seemed she'd really fallen asleep. I sighed helplessly. Forget it. She's my wife. I'll just let her be. At the Yun family's house, and Lang returned home and discovered that all the valuables he'd been collecting were gone. He shouted in alarm, "Where's all my stuff?" My aunt walked over impatiently. "Why are you yelling? It's not just your things that are gone." And Lang looked like he was about to explode. "Mom, what exactly did you do?" She then told him everything that had happened earlier. A sneer flashed across in Lang's eyes. "Mom, how about I go visit Uncle's house tomorrow?" "All right, go over there and remind them." The next morning, I opened my eyes and checked the time on my phone. I was instantly shocked. I was late again. Today's class was taught by the professor, and he always took attendance before every lecture. Attendance counted toward our final grade. I hurried out of bed, quickly washed up, and dashed downstairs. Father immediately waved at me. "You haven't had breakfast yet." Without even turning around, I rushed out the door. "No time, I'm going to be late." Father smiled and shook his head. "This kid has become so enthusiastic about studying." At the breakfast table, Shen Buyu noticed how seriously I'd been taking school lately. It made her secretly happy. Could it be? Fang Ziu doesn't want to study abroad anymore. After breakfast, Shen Buyu returned to her room and did something on the computer. She pulled up the security cameras from my university. At school, I slipped into the classroom during the very last second before the bell rang. Then I realized I'd forgotten the textbook for my next class. After thinking it over, I contacted a junior student who didn't have class and asked her to stop by my house to pick it up. I also sent Shen Buyu a message asking her to leave the book outside the front door. Although Shen Buyu didn't like dealing with strangers, she thought it was my friend, so she intended to personally greet them. But the moment she saw the person standing outside the gate, her expression changed. Why is it a girl? What kind of relationship does she have with Fang Ziu? The junior student had no idea what was going on. She simply picked up the book hanging on the doorknob and left. Upstairs, Shen Buyu sat motionless in her wheelchair as countless thoughts began running through her mind. Meanwhile, at school, I had no idea that Shen Buyu had once again opened the university confession page and was secretly paying attention to everything related to me. The morning classes quickly came to an end. As soon as class was over, I hurried home. By the time I arrived, Mother Shen had already prepared lunch. After we finished eating, I pushed Shen Buyu's wheelchair while asking, "Shen Buyu, did you pack your things while I was away?" Sitting in her wheelchair, Shen Buyu answered, "No." "I was busy all morning too. Let's pack everything together later." "All right, it'll be a lot of work. You have quite a lot of things. Let's sort everything first, then move them little by little." Shen Buyu smiled and nodded. "Okay, we'll do it together." Working side by side in the room, we quickly finished packing everything. That afternoon, the movers arrived and loaded all our belongings onto the truck. I drove Shen Buyu to our new home. A middle-aged housekeeper walked out of the villa with a warm smile. "Welcome home, Mr. and Mrs." I paused for a moment. Hearing someone call me Mr. made me feel like I was finally the head of the household. Shen Buyu looked at me. "What, don't you like being called that?" I quickly waved my hand. "No, I'm just not used to it yet." "You'll get used to it." Shen Buyu introduced her. "This is Aunt Liu. She'll be taking care of our daily meals and household needs." "Hello, Aunt Liu. I'll be troubling you from now on." "Not at all. That's my job." Aunt Liu immediately instructed the movers to carry our belongings into the house. Smiling, I pushed Shen Buyu over to the living room sofa. "Madam, please have a seat." "Sir, welcome home." We looked at each other and smiled. Shen Buyu then leaned into my arms and looked at me with complete seriousness. "Fang Ziu, you promised me you would never divorce me. As long as you never leave me, I'll spend the rest of my life treating you well."